and welcome to our show. My name is Candace, and I'm here at Sewing Machines Plus, and this is Tea Time. And we're going to talk about tools, tips, and techniques. My special guest is Deb Donovan. Welcome, Deb. She is known as the sewing guru. I don't know. What is your title, Deb?
Oh, I've had lots of titles here at the store over the years. So I've done everything from events and education to classes and lots of other things. I think I am a passionate sewer. Is the
there you
best
go.
way to call it.
So I think I referred to her as the guru of sewing. So if you want to know about sewing, talk to Deb. So today we're real excited to talk about everything applique. And some of you love applique, some of you do not like applique, but we're going to talk about some fun things to do with applique and a couple other special things we're going to throw in today too. So we're kind of going to give everybody a little bit of time to jump on Facebook. So let me tell you about what's coming up. Tea Time is all about tools, tips, and techniques here at our local retail store. And our next show is going to be on the 24th. And I'm going to have a special guest, Marina. She is going to talk to you about the scan and cut. And she's our scan and cut teacher. She's very knowledgeable about everything scan and cut. So that's going to be on the 24th. And then on October the 8th, I'm going to have Debbie Ewing come, and she's going to talk about bag making and using different fabrics, cork, specialty fabrics, putting in zippers. So a lot of fun things on that show. After that, our Halloween show, per se, on the 22nd of October is going to be Donna Johnson is going to come on and talk about paper piecing and everything to do with paper piecing and just quilting in general. So these are going to be really fun shows. Hopefully you'll get lots of tips. And it's just a way for us to interact with you. A lot of us teachers miss all of you. We miss all of our students. So hopefully this will be a great way to see all of you. Okay. So I'm trying to figure out, is my voice delayed? Is this a delay? Okay. Okay. So I feel like I have a...
On mine.
Okay, how about now? Are we on?
Hi, everyone.
This is Kyle.
This is Kyle.
Kyle takes care of us when we screw up the text.
Okay, so we're going to start all over and say everything again.
Okay. Yours is on. So
Okay.
It should be.
All right, so let's do a mic check. Can you guys hear us now? Everybody shout out. Let us know. Can you hear us?
And then this is, I can hear myself in the room now.
Okay, echo. All right, so let's.
There we go. We're good now.
Okay, we're good. All right. Well,
So
welcome.
reboot and let's start again.
So we'll talk about everything we talked about in the beginning throughout the show. Don't worry, you haven't missed anything. But we'll get going on this really fun applique design called Boneyard Buddies. And so go ahead, Deb, and tell us about this really cool pattern.
What I was saying when you couldn't hear me was that Boneyard Buddies actually stopped me in the tracks at the San Diego Quilt Show a couple of years ago. It is by a local designer. Well, she's within driving distance of here, and it's such a fun Halloween quilt. I've never seen anything like it really before or since. You can purchase the pattern two ways. You've got the traditional applique pattern. I think you need to go up a little bit. You have a traditional sewing quilting applique pattern where you cut out the templates and then you sew them by hand on your machine with a blanket stitch or a satin stitch or whatever you like to do. And I love it, but I bought this quilt pattern in the mid-September and I really wanted to have it done for Halloween. So I went and I got the machine embroidery version of the pattern.
Machine embroidery version.
So as a dedicated quilter, it took me a long time to come over to other ways of doing applique. But I am now a firm convert that if the machine's going to be able to do it faster than I'm going to be able to do it, I still get to do everything else. I'm still picking out all the fabrics, sewing all the blocks together. I'm just not doing all of the blanket stitch or the satin stitch by hand to get it all done. So that's what this quilt back here was made entirely with. It was made on a couple of different embroidery machines, both at my house, and I used one here at the store as well because I needed a bigger hoop size for that shark than what I had at home, and I wasn't going to sacrifice that shark. So what I have here is I've got one of them started, the Halloween block, in a smaller size for a different machine. And I'm going to show you how I got through it and how I'm going to finish it. So let me just grab my samples from down here.
So the really fun thing about this is it does come with SVG files. So if any of you have the scan and cut, which we're going to talk more about next week, this will work with your scan and cut, and it will pre-cut all of these pieces. And let me tell you, that is a lifesaver to be able to pre-cut everything and then just put it on when you have your placement stitch and really save you a lot of time. So the patterns do come with SVG files.
Yes, the machine embroidery pattern does come with the SVG files. Does it? Oh,
Sure does.
I
They both
stand
do.
corrected.
Yeah, I saw that. I was kind of excited.
So you can use them for either one. If you do want to cut them out by hand, what I have done is what I actually did instead of tracing them is I stitched out the embroidery design just onto a piece of thicker paper instead. So then you just kind of come, and I used red thread so that you could see it. I normally wouldn't use the red thread, but I wanted you to be able to see it.
Because it doesn't come with a template. So this is a great alternative for a template. Just do the stitch out and then cut it out, and that becomes your template.
So after then you just would go and cut out the little pieces that you need to have. A machine embroidery file for doing applique, it makes it super simple and very hard to mess up. The first thing that the embroidery file is going to do is it's going to stitch out a placement stitch. So that's going to show you exactly where you want to put your pieces of fabric once you get them ready to go. You can either put a big piece of fabric over the whole thing or cut the pieces out ahead of time, whatever works for you. So this one I cut out ahead of time. Then you just take this piece, and probably can't see it very well, but you lay it right on top of the line
that it's got all stitched out for you and ready to go. It's just a straight stitch, just to tell you where to put it.
And you're going to use a sticky backing of some sort, either applique
Wonder, Steam a Seam,
2, some product, even 505 on the back
to hold
and
it in
then
place.
Put it on there, and it's not going to move.
Mm-hmm.
So we really like that.
So after you've done that, then I've got it. I cheated. I've got it more than three quarters of the way done.
So while Deb's getting ready to do that, let me tell you about these patterns. Everything that we have today, you can call the retail store, and I'll have the guys put up the phone number, and you can order any of these patterns. And we have some special pricing for you today, and you can go ahead and order the patterns. I'm going to talk about lots of other patterns and product, and you can call us and just let us know that you would like to order these, and we can ship it out to you.
Or curbside pickup is a great option.
Curbside pickup. If you're local, go ahead and do an order. We can even cut fabric for you and just say, hey, I'm here. Come bring it out to your car, and it'll be no contact. Or if you want to come into the store and browse, you're welcome to do that too.
Because we have lots of great fabrics in the store too. So you can finish your pattern how you want. So what I've done, and I realize you can't see it, and then, oops, you could see it, and then I put my hand in front of it. I've actually stitched out almost all of it. We just have a few stitches left. So I'm going to reach back here, put down the presser foot, press that green button right there, and it's going to finish off those last few stitches for me. This is a smaller embroidery machine. I think it's great for somebody who's just getting started in embroidery, because it's got a 5x7 hoop size, which is great for doing tea towels and aprons and some smaller blocks. Actually, I got my first embroidery machine to do the labels for the backs of my quilts and to do gifts for people. I really didn't start using it for appliques or other types of quilting for a couple years, really, after that.
Now, the one challenge with this is that most of the applique needs to be done in a large hoop. So really, this is going to be for a larger hoop embroidery machine.
There we go. And she's done. What's also nice is this machine has built-in scissors, so it just cut everything for me.
It's so fantastic.
So what I'll do now that it's done is I'm going to take it off the hoop, raise the presser foot from the back, and then can you where do I need to go? Right there. So there is the stitched out design, all ready to be trimmed out to whatever size I need to do to put it wherever I want to put it. I had actually, there's a spider web on this design that I had started doing on some tea towels, which was looking really, really amazing. And then I left it at home this morning.
So
but Candace did not do that, though.
I did a
Candace
towel.
got hers in.
So I did a tea towel. And instead of using all these designs on a quilt, of course, you can put them on other things. So I did a tea towel. And then I did the, what is this? Hedgehog.
Mm-hmm.
And if you notice, this is actually glow-in-the-dark thread. So we don't have any glow-in-the-dark fabric, but we have glow-in-the-dark thread, which is super fun for the holiday.
Right, she's got the orange glow-in-the-dark thread. I have the white glow-in-the-dark thread here, and it was all white glow-in-the-dark thread on that. So I actually took that quilt last year, and at Halloween, I hung it up on my front porch so everybody could see it when they came up to my front door.
Really fun. And we have lots of different glow-in-the-dark thread. Let me grab some of these colors. So not just those colors, but we also have some fun blues. So these are fun blues, the orange, the white, and the yellows. So we have a couple different brands. These are Wonderfill. And then we also have the Nightlight. So we do have some of these in the store. So like I said, if that's anything that you want to order, just call us up and let us know.
We've actually switched over to most of the Wonderfill in the store. I found with sewing on it for both applique or on my sewing machine and on my embroidery machine that I get less fraying out of it. Glow-in-the-dark thread, as you can imagine, is not quite like regular thread. It's got that chemical on the outside to make it glow. So it's going to behave a little bit differently in your sewing machine than your normal sewing threads are going to.
Yeah, Jean, we love glow in the dark thread. It's a lot of fun.
It's so
to
much
play with.
fun.
So when Deb was talking about this thread, it's a little different. So something you might want to do is get some non-stick needles. So non-stick needles are really great to use. And they come in different sizes, but they're perfect for the embroidery machine. And they'll just slide through your sticky stabilizers, your quilt sandwiches, you know, anything. These
If you
non-stick
use
needles are great.
a spray batting, if you use a spray adhesive instead of basting your quilts, if you use a 505 temporary spray, then it doesn't gum up your needle as much with a non-stick needle as it does with a standard one. We use them all the time.
Okay, so anything else we want to talk about with our Boneyard Buddies? We do have a fabric bundle we've prepared for you. If you want to make the quilt with the black and white fabric, yes, we have black fabric.
And white fabric.
And white fabric. Black fabric's really hard to find right now, so we do have it in the store. So definitely give us a call if you need some black fabric.
So in the bundle is going to be all the black fabric that you need to make the blocks, all of the white fabric that you need to make the appliques that are behind me, a spool of the white glow-in-the-dark thread, and then enough steam-a-seam to do all of the blocks in the quilt in the large size, which is the size that's behind me. Candace is going to tell you a little bit more about steam-a-seam in just a second, so we're going to kind of skip over that at the moment.
Okay. So any burning questions about this one pattern? This one is just a lot of fun.
So I saw a question about nonstick needles kind of go sliding across the screen there. Nonstick needles can be purchased. We buy them from two different places. The ones that Candace showed you are Schmetz nonstick needles. They come in size 70, size 80, size 90, and also in size 100. The other place that you can get them if you can't get them at your local store is going to be Class A is the brand, and they call them an anti-glue needle instead of a nonstick needle, but it's still the same thing. It is a Teflon coated needle that's going to do a better job with all of those sticky things than your standard needle is going to do.
Okay, so we're going to change gears and talk to you about a really cool mat. And especially when you're cutting out a lot of, different applique, we have these really cool face mask templates that you can order. And they come in the 3 different sizes, a small, medium, and a large. And anytime you're cutting things out, when you put it on your mat, you get one side real good, and then what do? You can't.
You can kind of get two sides, but then you can't cut towards you. So then you need to pick up everything and turn it.
So we have this really cool turntable, and I'll have Deb tell you a little bit about this and how to use it.
I've looked at a lot of rotating cutting mats over the years, but this one is really the best one that I've seen. It's from Martelli. It is an investment, but I think it's a rotating cutting mat that's going to last for a long time. It has ball bearings in the bottom, and the top here is completely flat. So there's some felt on there, some flocking just to keep everything from slipping on there. But you just lay your mat on top of there, and it spins very easily. It doesn't have any bumps or lumps in there because the bearings are underneath this flocked surface so that they just kind of stay out of your way. Some of the other mats will sometimes have some bumpy surfaces in them. So normal.
Well, with this product, you also get a little iron mat. So these come together. You get all 3 pieces. And I like the iron mat too, because when you're ironing, you can also turn this and iron. So it's a really nice product.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see how you're going to cut out our face template with this fun mat.
Yep. So here's the Creative Grids face mask template. There's a couple of them that are out there, but this is the one that we've got today. I have a couple pieces of fabric. Actually, it's one long piece that apparently I should have used Candace's iron to press before I got here. So we'll cut from the side instead. What you do is with the cutting mat, I have to look down, guys. Sorry.
Barbara, your cat would love your rotating mat. Yes, just put your cat on there and let it play.
Let them twist away, right? So the rotating cutting mats are really nice because you're just going to come in here and, can you see me? You cut that edge. Come over here so I can spin it a little bit to keep it right where I want it to be. Cut that one. Don't have to lift anything up. Keep spinning around.
And you keep your hands on that, your ruler, any kind of ruler that you're using, which is really nice.
Get my
You know,
inside curve.
The minute you move your hands, your fabric shifts.
And there's the back. Oops, because that one didn't come go through either. So there we go. Nothing slipped or slid. I just got through all that, and all I just had to do was just keep spinning the mat as I went. I've had mine for a while, and the mat seems to be holding up really well, even though it's not quite the surface that I'm accustomed to for the rest of my mats. It's something I wanted for a long time, and I'm sorry I waited so long to get it, honestly.
Well, I'm thrilled we finally got those in. We also have the Alpha turntables. These are a little bit different. They don't turn. They kind of, you have to turn the whole thing. It's a little bit different, but this is also an option for you on these types of cutting mats. They're really handy. And, you know, once you are cutting, you know, think about cutting your squares, your 2-inch squares. I mean, you can just cut and then turn your table and cut the other way. So super handy.
It is
mat.
a self-healing mat that's on here, Rebecca. So I have not yet worked my way through mine. I can see some of the marks because this is my mat from my house, actually, I brought in, so we didn't have to open up another one. You know, like any other mat, I can see some of my my rotary cutter marks on there, but it's held up quite well to me. So the prices on everything, if you're interested in that, there should be a link on the Facebook page.
Yeah, so let's
to it. I'm looking at the guys. So we knew we didn't want to talk about all the pricing and stuff on here. So we've got a PDF that you can download with all of the names of the products and all of the pricing. Some of the things you're going to have to call into the store for because it's the prices were, can I jokingly say, too low to be advertised on TV.
Yes. Like I said, we're doing sales on all of these items just because we're featuring them on our show. Someone had asked, I saw a note pop up about the size of the hoop on these Embroidery Buddies. So it does have all the different formats and your hoop sizes, 4x4, 5x7, 5x12, 8x8, 9.5 by 14. If you want to do the big,
the shark. The biggest shark goes
really
into a 9.5 by 14. The smaller quilt, I think the largest hoop size is like a 7x12, but then those are for the applique ones. If you don't want to do the appliques, then they do have the design sized all the way down to fit into some 4x4 hoops.
Which would be like the embroidery only ones and not the applique.
Right. Those ones are just embroidery. They don't have applique on them.
Yeah. And we'll make sure that this information gets up on the website so you can get all those details on that. So excellent.
If you can't find it on the website yet, then do call the stores at the phone numbers. They'll probably flash back up on the screen at the end of the show. There we go. There they are. Yep. We have copies of those lists in the stores, so we can help you out with any of those questions that you might have.
All right. Any more questions on our mat? I mean, this is just the coolest
I love my mat.
And like I said, I use mine for ironing. Now, on mine, I actually put a wool mat on top of it. One of my wool mats. I have a big wool mat that we use for embroidery. We do have some of the smaller wool mats. And just tell us a little bit about what is a wool mat? Why do we want to use those?
Wool pressing mats, actually, I mean, I borrowed them from the embroiderers when I first started here many years ago at the store. The wool traps the heat and reflects it back at the surface. It's also like pressing into a tea towel, but on steroids, because it's somewhat flexible. So if you take your embroidery and press it face down, then your back is flat and your embroidery will stand up of the back surface a little bit. But I really took it from my quilting. That's where I saw the most, because we're quilters. We have seam allowances on the backs of our products. If you iron that on a standard ironing board, then think about the centers of your pinwheels. You always end up with those little volcanoes that happen because you've got 8 layers of fabric that have all come together, and your ironing board is hard and flat, and so that bumps up. But when I press it on a wool pressing mat, that seam allowance sinks down into the pressing mat, and that way I don't have to worry about those seam allowances being there. The tops of my blocks are beautiful and perfect and flat without any of the lumps and bumps from the seam allowance showing up there.
So I first became aware of these with our commercial embroidery machines. We sell our Melcos to commercial companies, and they all use these pressing mats when they do embroidery. So they're fabulous for embroidery. They're really great for quilting. Really nice to get the wool mats. And it's a perfect thing to add on top of your turntable. And you can just, like I said, being able to turn this makes ironing really great too. Not just cutting, but ironing.
You've got one little surface. This is a 14-inch cutting mat that's going to sit right next to your workstation, so you can cut on it, or you can come over here and put this mat and then put the pressing mat on top of it, and then you can iron right at the same space. So. Okay,
so we are gonna move into our next applique project, and I forgot what camera. Here we go. That is the Laura Heine patterns. So yes, that's how you pronounce it, Laura Heine. So you can see I've got a couple samples here on my wall. I'm like all in the way. I've got a seahorse. This one is just fused. There's no sewing at all. And then my flamingo was just fused, and it was quilted around the edges, but not on top of it. So this is a really fun project you can do where you don't have to do any sewing, or you can do sewing if you choose. They came out with some brand new patterns that we want to share with you. Of course, there's some for the holidays.
We're kind of theming this week after Halloween, in case you haven't noticed.
Our Halloween theme here, our black and white. So this one is the black cat. So that one came out, and then we have Jack. So these came out, I think, last year. These were out. And then let's pull up the new one. This is a brand new one that you can pre-order. So you want to call us and get in on this pre-order for the skeleton. It's called Deceased, right?
Deceased.
Deceased. And what I love about these patterns is they're really fun to do, I think. They're a lot of fun, and they're more art. They're called art quilts, or art collage quilts.
Yes, they are.
And they're just a lot of fun to do. So I'm going to go through and talk about what the process is, because sometimes you see these and you're like, what is this?
And you think it's so hard to do.
It's so hard. When I first saw these, I thought it was quilting. And I'm like, there is no way I'm going to quilt these pieces. There's no way. So here's the little featherweight. And what you're going to do is you'll get the pattern, and you're going to take it out, and you're going to trace it. We're going to trace it onto what's called patternese paper. So if you want to get a top down on that. And so all I did was trace the pattern. And you can see this is just barely the outline, right? This doesn't look anything like this, because I'm going to make mine however I want. So you're going to trace it. That's your first step. And then I like to kind of select a story. I call it a fabric story.
A color story.
A color story of different fabrics that I might use for this particular design. So I definitely need my blacks, and I chose some fun Tula Pink
and Kay
Facet fabrics. So I love to mix and match, but I just thought this one was so fun. It's got the sewing motif for a sewing machine. So like I said, I kind of get my color family going. And then I'll show you a little bit about the next process. So we use the Steam-A-Seam. So why don't you talk about the Steam-A-Seam while I'm getting this out?
Steam-A-Seam is it's a double-sided fusible applique product. It has paper on both sides of it, and so you can trace your design on one side of the Steam-A-Seam, or in Candace's case, she's just gonna fuse a piece of Steam-A-Seam to the back of the fabric. Not really iron it on forever, just really you're looking for enough to hold the Steam-A-Seam onto the back of the fabric, because then you're going to peel off the other release layer when you've got it cut out, and that's when you're going to stick it onto your backing, onto her patternies in this case.
I'm going to just take this, and when you have the Steam-A-Seam on, it's so much easier to cut out your pieces.
It stabilizes the edge of the fabrics.
Yeah, it's so great. So what I do is I just kind of get an idea. I need a inspiration. So this is Nola. She is a unicorn. She's back there on our wall.
Right here, behind Candace.
And I needed some inspiration. So I had these really cool leftover feathers from another project, actually, from my flamingo. And so I decided that's what I wanted to use for her mane. And once I cut things out, all I'm going to do is peel off the back of my piece I cut out. And if you use the Steam-A-Seam too, this is tacky. Some of the other products are great, but you can't reposition them.
Mm-hmm.
This product you can. And then I'm just going to put this in here. And these are in here where I can lift them because I'm layering this, right? I'm like, do I want this under? Do I want this over the top? You know, how do I want that on there? I'm going to move it around, and I can move this around as much as I want until I'm ready to iron it. So if you use the Steam-A-Seam too, it's very user-friendly. Like I said, it's tacky, so you can reposition it. So I'm just going to, like I said, I want this under. And so everything's just kind of on here, but it's not going to sit, be permanent until I iron it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I find these projects are so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
We had a family night the other night. We watched Mulan, and I had everyone in the house cutting flowers.
Mm-hmm.
So I used the Steam-A-Seam, put it on my fabric, and then cut out flowers. So it was a lot of fun. So another trick, if you have any of these patterns.
What are your favorite scissors to cut all those pieces out with?
All right, so let's talk about those.
Because I know she and I like different kinds of scissors.
So on the back of the pattern, it suggests using the Karen Buckley serrated edge scissors. And these cut very sharp, and you need something that's going to cut the tip all the way, to get sharp points. The serrated edge helps to hold the fabric and to cut it very sharp. But I use a couple different scissors. These ones I really like. Which ones do you like?
I like serrated scissors also. I like the smaller ones though. The Karen K. Buckley scissors come in several sizes. The green ones are smaller. They have smaller blades and they're lighter weight. And that's what I prefer to do most of mine with. I will warn you, those scissors are so sharp that the green ones you're almost afraid you're going to poke through the fabric sometimes. They're that small and that sharp at the tip, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, and you need that kind of thing when you're cut. I'm going to move this real quick.
Because if you look at the detail that Candace has cut out on some of these pieces, she's got little tiny pieces that she's cutting all the way into. So you need really good sharp scissors for that.
Very sharp scissors. So I'm going to show you another little trick. A lot of times I don't use exactly what the pattern does. I use my own creativity. But if I need to trace something, what I do, this is my steam machine. I'm going to pull the back off, and then I'm just going to set it down here, and I'm going to trace over with a Sharpie. Use a Sharpie so you can see it. You know, the one piece that I want.
I like that.
Then when I cut it, it's on the back, and I can just cut this out, but it's the correct direction when I put it on my fabric, because you need to make sure you don't reverse.
That's always a thing when you're doing
You don't
applique
reverse
with the steam
anything.
machine, is making sure nothing gets turned around on you.
So like I said, I think these are super fun. This is like the COVID-19 project, you know, I think, because they're just a lot of fun. You can sit and binge watch. Everybody wants to binge watch TV or whatever. And you can just, you know, work on these fun patterns. And so once you're finished with this, you cut it out and then you put it on your backdrop. So if we look here at one of these, I've sewn my backdrop, and then you're going to put your pattern, and then you'll decorate. So if you see my seahorse, there's a lot of things that have been decorated after he gets put on the fabric in the back. And if you look at some of these patterns, there's just a whole lot to it. So it's really just the cat you're going to do, and then a lot of it will be done after you put it on your fabric. Now you could also put this and do this directly on your fabric if you don't want this extra step, but it's kind of hard to trace it out. So this is kind of the what they say in the pattern to do is use, this is called pattern ease. We sell this by the yard. I also use this on all my garment patterns to trace my garment patterns so I don't cut them. But this is really nice stuff. It's see-through, so you can easily trace right through it. So what else do we want to say about these? These are just, like I said, a ton of fun. We sell.
It seems like it's kind of like never done. You want to keep fussing with it, and you can keep adjusting it till the very last second. If you don't like something, you can pull it off and put a different color there and put it back on again.
So steam machine comes in a couple different sizes. I recommend the biggest size is 24. We also have the 18-inch, and it's sold by the yard. So I really like that.
You can buy it by the sheet also, but we just think that the yard is a much easier way to use it. So,
and you need a lot.
Yes.
Okay, you need a lot. And you also need a really good iron. We have, these are really great Panasonic irons. They are, they're cordless. So they sit in their holder, they heat up, and then they're cordless. So I can use it without the cord getting all in the way.
It's also shaped like a football, so you can go in any direction. You can go forwards or backwards with it. And
you really can get in those grooves. It's got a nice tip on it. So these are great irons. We have a couple of these in some different colors. I can't get the blue anymore, but we've got some rose gold and some green and some really pretty ones. So you need a really good iron for that. The other thing that is important is making sure when you're ironing fusible web to not get it on your iron, right?
Absolutely.
That's the last thing you want to do.
You can clean it off, but who wants to?
Yeah. So I'll pull this off. I forgot to grab this. These are applique pressing sheets. And these are really great. You put it over your project and you iron on top so that the sticky stuff gets on the sheet and not your iron. So these are really nice to have. So the name of this iron, it's a Panasonic. What else is it called?
Cordless 360.
Here we go. I have one here, and these are really great and a lot of steam. These are really great with steam.
And the steam too. If you want to pull that other one, pull the floor model one back up. Sorry, that one's from our classroom, the one that we had up there earlier.
It doesn't come off.
The case was defeating Candace, but here we go. Okay. So this is the cool thing right here is that you can take off the water reservoir. Whoops. Come on, guys.
Get down.
You can take the water reservoir off. So you can take this straight to your tap and fill it. You don't have to put anything in a bottle or pour out of a jug or anything else. You can
your
take
whole
this
iron
right to the
under
sink
Yeah.
and fill that up and then just kind of slide it right back into place and you're ready to go again.
Yeah, this is a really nice iron. And like I said, because it's cordless, it's just so much easier. Just make sure you put it back on its tray so that it heats back up. And as you mentioned, like I said, my seahorse, I think I did that like 4 or 5 times because it just wasn't never finished. So finally you have to just say, okay, you're finished and walk away. And this one, I actually mounted, this is on a canvas frame.
I love that about that one.
So
it really turned it into a piece of art.
It's a piece of art. And I'm not going to put it on a bed, but it's a piece of art. If you are going to put it on a bed and you want to do some of these very large ones, you're going to want to quilt it. So these come in all different sizes. So we have some big ones. There's even some minis. We call them minis. And they're just the real tiny ones. So these are a lot of fun just to do any different size. So all of these things you can call our retail store. Just call up and order any of these projects or items and we will ship them to you. We have also a link that we're providing that shows you the name of everything. And I don't have all the Laura Heine patterns listed.
There's so many of them.
So many. There's tons and tons of them. We have cactus and octopus and a Chevrolet and just pincushion, all kinds of stuff. So you definitely want to order these and get in on the pre-order. So the pre-order is for the deceased, the skeletons. And I know somebody that loves skeletons. So I can't wait to make this as a gift for someone. So if you want to put that back up again, that's our brand new one. It's going to be here hopefully next week.
They're supposed to ship to us on the 17th. So we should have them next week and plenty of time to get it, can I say started? For Halloween?
Yeah. And as I mentioned, get the family involved. I had my granddaughter with me. And as long as you have these already pre-done, you know, I'm like, hey, where should we put this flower? You know, it's just a lot of fun.
Everybody needs a bigger craft room,
yes,
that's for
sure.
sure.
A bigger craft room. You really need a lot of space when you do these projects. They're just a ton of fun. So I'm going to kind of clean up a little bit, and I'm going to have Deb talk about another fun pattern that we have. That's also applique. And that's called our Monster Mash.
So Candace mentioned that she had her granddaughter sitting and helping her to cut things out. When my daughter was small, we also did a lot of projects together. She was playing with pins when most kids were playing with other things because it let me sew at the same time that she was awake, which was a plus in my mind. But the fusible, the steam-a-seam applique is a fantastic way to get your kids involved in a lot of things. Oops, I forgot my scissors. Where's my scissors? So Monster Mashup, you can see I made just 4 blocks of it. They're kind of back here in the corner. The pattern looks a little bit interesting. It's not as impressive in the pattern as it really is when you start to make it. It's kind of a basic one. When you open up the pattern, it's really simple to make. So honestly, if I had little ones at home, I would probably let them work with me on it. Let me pull out one of the pieces.
I also think these would make great Halloween bags.
That's what I thought too. That's what I was going to do with this one when I finished it.
Each monster could be its own Halloween bag. I think it'd be so much fun. And you could use the glow-in-the-dark thread. If you can get your hands on glow-in-the-dark fabric, good luck. We haven't been able to get our hands on any of that.
Yeah. So when you pull a pattern piece out of the pattern, for most quilt patterns, it looks something like this. where you've just got your shapes written on there. This one tells me that the pattern pieces are already reversed. So I just have to trace them onto the back of my fabric or back of my steam seam, and I'm ready to go. At that point, you go and you rough cut them out. Where's my piece? You just kind of rough cut them out so that you've got, I lost my camera.
There you go.
So you can see I've still got black fabric around the edge of it. I do have a faint pencil line on here. I've been using steam seam for a lot of years, and I usually use pencil on it. I find that anything else tends to smear with my hand as I continue to use it, and I end up with smeared edges and then ink along the back side of my hand. So I go to pencils. I don't use pencils for much, but I use them for this. And then the nice thing about this pattern is it's not super precise with what you need to cut out. So I, of course, saved the triangle for last because that's straight lines. There we go. So I got that last one. You can see I've got all the rest of my pieces here. I've got eyes and other bits and pieces.
These are great. Like I said,
So,
what a fun project for any age.
Yeah, really, I think so. What I like about this pattern is that it's all kind of freeform. It's pretty, it's not really precise. You can do whatever you want to. So it's just an 8.5 by 14 piece of fabric. And then you peel the backings off of them, just kind of like what Candace showed you. Whoop.
Yeah, the steam seam 2 comes in regular and light. I think both of them are pretty sticky. The regular's a little bit thicker than the light, but they both work really well. And it's a good product because it's repositionable.
And it stays. It's not like some of the other ones where if you put it up on your design wall, you come back in the morning and it's on the floor. Mm-hmm. It will stay where you put it until you fuse it down. I've had some stuff that's been waiting for longer than I'd like to admit to before I had it fused down, and it works just fine. But it's really super easy to put this together when you're done. You know, just peel off your backing papers. I can generally get them off pretty well, but if you do have a problem, then a straight pin, if you score it with a straight pin, then that can get you going. And we'll do the eyes. If you look at the pattern, they've got all these kind of wonky, crazy, and nothing's precise, nothing's specific or exact with where it's supposed to be.
You can see the pattern. It's kind of in our corner right there. Look at the eyes are all crazy. Mm-hmm. I just love it because it's not precise. It's just fun. A lot of fun. And like I said, these would make excellent little trick-or-treat bags.
I was going to totally, yep.
I could definitely see doing a pillow.
This one was going into a trick-or-treat bag with this one when I finished it. Because I've got my 4 over there, which is big enough for my front door. And then this one, you know, I just put his eyes going however I want to. If I don't like how they are, then I just peel it up and I look at it again. You know, holiday quilts are a great way to use this raw edge to not bother to go ahead and sew it down, not to take all that time. It's a holiday quilt. It doesn't see wear and tear all the time. It's not on the bed. So, you know,
you do some raw edge.
Stick them wherever you want to. Oh, I kind of don't like those eyes.
There you go. Well, let's change it. You can change it. Love it.
I didn't like that eye position at all. There you go. And he's all ready to be. All I need to do is take him to the iron, fuse it down, and I can sew it into my trick-or-treat bag.
So again, this is called Monster Mashup. And like I said, they needed to blow up this picture. It doesn't look super impressive, but it's a lot of fun. And you can get this on our
it's in the store.
In the store, not on our website. Sorry, guys. It's in our store. Just give us a call, and we can get that for you. We can ship it out to you, or come into our store and just grab a pattern. Remember to like, share, and comment, and let your friends and any of your crafter friends. Every week we're going to just be doing something different. And we would love to hear from you. If you have some things that you would like to see us do, give us a shout out and let us know some things that you would like to see.
Candace and I have so many different ideas of things that we would like to do.
Too many.
We have all of our teachers that are so excited to come back in and start, if we can't have you in the classroom yet, then we're going to reach out to you any way that we can. And so we've got a bunch of ideas, but we'd love to hear from you guys too. So,
all right. So many of you are making masks, and it's almost time to make more masks. It's kind of like you need some fresh masks. And I think holiday fabric and
oh no, don't go there.
Would be so fun.
All right, go
but
there.
If you don't want to do holiday fabric and you want to jazz up your mask, we have mask bling. So I'm going to put those on. So these are little pins that we brought in. We've got a bunch of these. Mine says Seam Reaper. And I don't know how close you can get to any of those. So he's the little Seam Reaper. And Deb's is a sewing machine.
It says My Therapist on it.
Yeah, My Therapist is a sewing machine. So we brought a bunch of these into our store. So give us a call and let us know if you're interested in these. They're super cute. They're enamel. And they just kind of jazz up your mask. I mean, how boring is a mask, truly? So they're a lot of fun. I kind of put it in a place that's not going to, touch my cheek. So super fun. So I call them mask bling, but of course they're pins. So you can put them wherever you want. But they're a lot of fun. Seam Reaper is perfect, though, for holiday or Halloween. So
I love that one. Every year at Halloween, when I see that, it just makes me smile.
Yes. He's actually a cat. Okay, this is called, he's a cat. He's a cat face. So any of you that love your cats, you might really love them.
They come in lots of different styles. There's hedgehogs and cats and owls and sewing machines and scissors and just all sorts of fun shapes just to give us a little something more to smile about.
So we are just about out of time. Even though Deb and I think we can talk for a couple hours.
We could, but we'll
about sewing
call it.
Or projects. If you didn't get your question answered, we'll go back and look through the comments and see if there's anything that we can answer for you. Like I said, call one of our retail stores. We have 2 stores, one in San Marcos, California, one down in San Diego. No, we're not on fire, but we could be any day.
North and south of us, but right now we're good.
Is on fire, but right here in San Diego, we are still pretty good. But give our stores a call, and there's again a link that will list all of the different patterns and things that we talked about, because we don't expect you to remember what it's called. So we have a link so that you can look at that and just give us a call. Say, hey, send me this pattern, and so I can get started on it right away. Okay, so we are going to do some giveaways.
Yes, we have some giveaways.
Right? We have some fun giveaways for you guys today. Our first giveaway, of course, is our pattern. So I'll let you hold that. So we are going to give away the sewing pattern for the Boneyard
Buddies.
And this one, again, it comes with the SVG files. So if you have a scan and cut
or another kind of a digital cutter,
of any kind, grab this pattern. And next week we're going to be, or next show, we're going to be talking more about the scan and cut and some fun things you can do with it. And you can definitely cut this pattern out on your digital cutter. So each of our giveaways are going to come with one of our fun bags. I don't know which one yet. It'll be a mystery what color you get, but we have lots and lots of great colors. And these are a perfect size for all your crafts.
Oh, they're big. They hold a lot.
They're nice and big. They are.
You can put all sorts of stuff in there.
You can. And this one says your husband called and said you could buy anything you want. And I would say significant other. Change that. But these are a lot of fun. And we have these on our website or in our store for purchase individually. But every one of our gifts will come with a bag. So who is our winner for our pattern?
Nana Betty Benoit.
Okay.
All right. Congratulations.
So Nana, we want you to send us a little text there, and we're going to have you send us an email to David at SewingMachinesPlus.com, and he will get you your prize in the mail.
Mhm.
And anyone who wins, that is going to be the email, is David at SewingMachinesPlus.com. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's get to our next one.
Oh, it's
So
the
this
bag.
is a bag, but it's full.
It is.
So let's find out what's in here. So we have a threader,
A needle threader.
needle threader. Okay, what else is in here?
A surgical seam. Nope, that's not that.
Nope, this
that
is
is
a
marking pens.
Marking pens, and these are air vanishing, which is really nice. So you can use those, and in a 10, 20 minutes, it'll vanish.
Mhm.
All right, here is your surgical seam ripper. These are really great. It's a fast and easy way to cut your seams. It's almost like shaving. So those are really fun. And then we also have a pair of applique scissors. And these are duckbill scissors. And really that's a great thing that you need when you're doing applique,
Mhm.
is some duckbill scissors. Okay, so who is our winner for our Moda bag and Nifty Notions?
Sharon Nibblink.
Can't see it. So yes, Sharon. Okay, Sharon, if you are out there, go ahead and give us a quick little text. Let us know that you saw your name and you won.
Mhm.
And then go ahead and send us an email to David at SewingMachinesPlus.com.
Mhm.
And we can get that in the mail to you. All right, Sharon, are you there? Couple more minutes. Get them. Okay, we have one more.
What's the last? Oh, that one.
And we talked a little bit about fabrics, especially for our Laura Heine patterns. The K-facet fabrics are just fantastic. And this is a fat quarter bundle of K-facet fabrics. So these are just going to be so much fun. They're great to use for any project,
Mhm.
but super fun for your Laura Heine patterns. And again, you'll get one of our bags. So who gets our fabric bundle?
Deborah Mitchell.
All right, Deborah. So chime in
Mhm.
and let us know you're there. And fabric is always great. Yep, fabric's always great to have.
And Kate is just so much fun. It's to work with. That's actually Candace uses so much of it when she makes those Laura Heine patterns.
I grabbed a couple. I grabbed this one. I'm going to grab this real quick because I haven't seen this one.
We did just get some new ones in a couple of days ago.
This one I think is older.
It's a new pattern. It's a newer pattern. It's called Geodes.
Isn't
It
that
comes in
cool?
several
It's like
colors.
geodes.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely use this on my Laura Heine patterns. I mean, I need an eyeball. Wouldn't that be great for an eye?
Mm-hmm.
They're just really, really fun fabrics. So you're going to love your fat quarter. And if you need some fabric, give us a call and say, hey, do you have this? Can you cut me a couple yards and put it in the mail? So we can definitely do that for you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I want to thank all of you guys out there for watching. Thanks so much for tuning in and being a part of our tea time for tools, tips, and techniques. And I want to thank Deb. Thank you so much, Deb.
Oh, it was fun to
coming.
come in here and get out of the office for an hour.
There you go. And Deb and I are going to do a holiday special. Once we get closer to the holidays,
Mhm.
we'll do a bunch of holiday things and do some good sales for you. So thank you guys all for tuning in.
Mhm.
And next week, Thursday, will be Blaine. So you definitely want to watch Blaine's show, SMP Live. And he is already up to number 18. I'm just barely on number 2. So he'll have a special guest. And you'll definitely want to tune in for that show. They are a lot of fun.
Joanne Benko is a phenomenal brother educator. She also has written a couple of books. I think that at least one of them is they're going to be going and talking about next week during Blaine's live Facebook show.
And then after that, I'll have Marina here, who you guys are just going to love Marina.
Marina's amazing.
And she's going to talk all about scan and cut. Okay, so we are going to say goodbye. And thanks so much for joining us.
Bye.
Have